Hello, precious. This is for you if you are struggling to keep promises that you've been making to yourself. And I want to invite you, because we love an invitation, because we can take it or leave it, to reconsider the promises that you have been making. I really don't enjoy the feeling of breaking promises that I make to myself. And what I've learned is that instead of being like, why are you not meeting this promise? Why are you not meeting this promise? Is asking myself and inviting you to ask yourself, what if it's the wrong promise? Today, I want to invite you into the idea of sustainability. If you are calling in a new practice, a craft, a habit, a routine, a ritual that you've been struggling to stick to. You say to yourself, I really want to journal, but you're struggling to do your journaling. You say to yourself, I really wish that I had a podcast, but you're struggling to get started on your journey or keep going on your journey. I really like the idea of calling in a habit, calling in a craft, a practice, a ritual. And I especially love the idea of a practice, because a practice is sustainable. A practice is devotional. A practice is not rooted in an outcome. It's almost a lifelong commitment to be on a specific journey, or for as long as that journey serves you. So things like a yoga practice, a meditation practice. It says, I have established a space for this in my daily life, and it's a space that I view as sacred and that means a lot to me, and that I'm willing to sit with the discomfort in order to maintain. And I love the idea of the process and focusing on the process, the system, rather than attaching to the outcome. For me, the pain here that I feel most is I really don't enjoy the feeling of breaking promises that I make to myself. And what I've learned is that instead of being like, why are you not meeting this promise? Asking myself and inviting you to ask yourself, what if it's the wrong promise? What if there's a deeper truth that I actually cannot live up to this promise? It's not a kind promise. It's not a loving promise. And there's a kinder and more loving way that I can choose to devote myself to this path that I've chosen, or that I feel like has chosen me. So if this is resonating with your spirit, with your soul, I cannot wait to get into some of the examples. I have a little analogy on friendship or making a new friend or new lover in your life. Where I want to begin is my relationship to doing what is sustainable, and when I have failed to do that. When I started my podcast, I was not doing what was sustainable. In terms of my process, the first couple of episodes, like The Ugliness of Beauty, part 1 and 2, I was typing every single word that I was saying on those podcasts, and I was making them essays. And I remember how stressful and how long it took me to write those essays. I was writing it, then I was rewriting it. I remember it would get to like 10 pages, and I was like, this is going to be a 2-hour episode. And the main thing was not that there was anything necessarily wrong with that. I mean, it's very loving and devotional to really try bring your full thinking to a podcast episode. But the issue was it was not sustainable. Like, it's great to be able to do something once, but can you keep going? No, I couldn't. Hence why it took me so long to come out with part 2. I literally was petrified, Hermione Granger, to keep going because it was so daunting. I had to stop for 6 months because I was not following a sustainable process, a process that literally I, the creator, could sustain. And I think what's really important to recognize is when you are the creator, which you are all creating something in your life. You are creating relationships, you are creating projects or rituals, you are creating life in some way. You have work that you do that you create. When you are the creator, sometimes you forget to prioritize yourself in the creation and prioritize your energy. It is your energy that is going to determine whether or not you can continue. You can even get started. And your energy, it does not exist in a vacuum. If you have a stressful job or you have no time or you're caretaking, you are going to have less energy. And so it's really important to be very gentle with yourself when you are not creating the creations of your dreams. What I want to highlight in this conversation is it's so important to not burn ourselves out on expectations that are literally unrealistic. I love that Delulu is the solulu saying on TikTok. I love the idea of being delusional. Like, why not me? Why not us together? Stranger things have happened, and achieving your dreams or meeting the love of your life or whatever it is, like whatever it is that you are feeling really energized by, that's really calling in your erotic energy. Stranger things have happened in that. Delulu is the solulu. But there's, I think, the wrong kind of delusional. For example, when you're telling yourself, oh, I'm going to write morning pages every single day. Yet you've been telling yourself you would be writing morning pages for like 3 years and haven't started. And so you're telling yourself the problem is the fact that you're not reaching the goal. And I would say, what if the problem is the goal? What if you should have a gentler and sustainable process at the center of how you approach your desire to journal? So what if instead of saying to myself, oh, on my absolute best day, I could write 5 pages. So that's what I'm going to aim to do every day. I'm going to say, oh, no. On my day where I feel my least energized, I think I could still write a paragraph. Okay, so that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to prioritize what feels truly sustainable to me. And I'm going to say, I have to learn how to crawl before I learn how to walk, before I learn how to jog. And actually, maybe I decide the floor feels kind of luscious. I'm just going to crawl. All I need to do is crawl because that's better for me than staying still in this example. So I'm going to hold myself to a gentler standard. And obviously, I'm not going to attach my worth, my identity to the outcome of that. But what I'm going to say is the most loving thing that I could do is say to myself, I really, really do feel called to having a podcast, for example. And yet I keep telling myself, I'm going to record an episode every single week. And yet I've never even recorded an episode every month. And yet I've never even used my voice note app to record an episode for myself. You know what I mean? So what is the most gentle, loving, easy, like ease? Ease is sexy, babe. Ease is stunning. Softness and ease and just this luscious feeling of, I've got this. This is under my feet. This isn't a giant leap that I have to take that's over there that's making me daunted and terrified. This is something that I actually feel I really could do. So how can you invite yourself into the most loving version of the ritual, the practice, the craft that you are calling into your life? We say to ourselves, I really want to be a journaler. Like, I want to journal. All the peeps on the interwebs are journaling. I want to journal too. So I'm going to buy The Artist's Way and I'm going to journal every single morning. I'm going to do my morning pages for 12 weeks. I'm going to do this exercise. And then what? I buy the book. It stays with me. It stays with me. It's terrifying me. It's so overwhelming to me. How am I going to do all the things that it's telling me to do? And so then what do? I do nothing. I don't even plant a seed of journaling. I don't say, okay, I'll write a word. I'll say, okay, what word is my vibe today? Acceptance, completion, love, grief, fear. I'm feeling like words were said. So all I'm trying to bring you into is rather focus on something that feels easy, something that even feels pleasurable. I'm going to put on a piece of music every single day, and for the duration of that song, I'm going to journal. 3 minutes. That's it. And then I'm done. And it's not even that that's it, and then I'm going to hope that I do more. Actually, no. Unless I do this for like 10 days, I'm actually not going to write more. For example, you can decide, obviously, be as loving and gentle as you would like. But essentially, I'm going to focus on the gift of a craft. It's so wonderful to have a practice. It's really, really wonderful because it's a space that is always available to you and that feels very nourishing. You give and it gives back. That's how I feel right now with podcasting. I went from this hyper burnout vibe of like, I'm going to write every single word. I'm going to interview people, even though it's very stressful. That's why there are no guests right now. It's not sustainable for me. So you have to know yourself. This is, I think, the problem as well, is we hold ourselves to other people's standards. So we see people doing morning pages on YouTube, on TikTok, and we think, oh, this is easy, so I can do this. And then we find it difficult, but we're like, no, I just haven't made the right time. Or no, I just haven't. No. This is about me. I'm the creator. So if I'm finding it difficult, it's not about the person on the internet who told me it was easy. It's not about everyone else not struggling to post this thing and that thing. It's about me. And the level of honesty that this requires is actually, in a way, life-changing, or it's shifting, it's profound, because it asks you to be honest with yourself and say, even though it sounds like for a podcast, 1 episode a week is so little. Oh my word, of course I can do that. Once you actually try, you realize for yourself, it can be very challenging. It's a very challenging goal, even though it's 30 minutes in 7 days or 45 minutes in 7 days. For me, myself, and I, the creator, how can I make this sustainable? What I realized is interviews for me, you have to read the book, you have to prepare the questions, and then you have to deal with the uncertainty of what energy that person is going to bring into your life. It was stressful. It was a lot for me, babes. And I was feeling like this is so much and everyone's doing this, so this is just what I have to do. What was that? That's an unempowered state. And it's not even unempowered because that word is now full of baggage. What it really is I wasn't putting myself in the driver's seat of my own podcast. I was being driven by other people's expectations, which is like the medium is a medium for conversation. It's a medium for interviews. You know, that's just what they tell you. But then you start to say, wait, is it podcasting in general that is so unsustainable? Or is it my specific approach to it? And whose rules am I following? I love the chapter on rules in Rick Rubin's book. He literally says, you subconsciously are following rules of the medium. You've learned them somewhere. You might have learned them in school. You might have learned them from social expectations. You might have learned them from your friends, your community. You might have internalized them at some point in your life and you're clinging to them. You're saying to yourself, journaling means 3 pages. Journaling isn't one word. A podcast episode has to be 30 minutes. A podcast episode has to be an interview. Or you're saying to yourself, I only get to create things if I'm willing to share them. These are invisible rules that are guiding your life. You know what I mean? But babe, let's break the rules. But first we have to see them. So I would invite you to ask yourself, what are the rules you are subconsciously following in your life? As you create, or as you live, or as you try to develop different routines, rituals, practices, friendships, love, all the things. What is a subconscious rule you are following that is actually holding you back? Like it's holding you back because it's a false belief, but you're holding it to be absolute truth. So for example, the idea of writer's block. Oh, I can't write. Actually, what I've learned from a YouTube, I don't know who said this, I'm so sorry, but no one has writer's block. They just refuse to write things that are bad. They refuse to let go of their perfectionism. Anyone can write badly. Anyone could say, I'm going to write now, but it's going to be bad. But the block is that, no, I'm failing to reach this full potential of creativity, this vision I had for what I was going to write, which was just going to be flowing and excellent and amazing, and everyone would want to read it and it would be the book of my dreams. Well, you're blocked by perfectionism. The actual practice of writing is not blocked. You could say, today was a good day and a day was good today and I had a bad day yesterday, right? That I wrote. Did I not say words? I spoke. And so sometimes we are blocked by our own perfectionism. So the rule that would then need to help you unblock is that I'm only allowed to write if it's good. I'm only allowed to have a podcast if it's excellent. I'm only allowed, and many of us have internalized that from childhood. Oh my word, I have that. I have the perfectionism. My worth comes from how good I am at something, and I'm not allowed to be bad. And if I'm going to be a creative and an African, I have to be the best. Babes, no, I've had to try and let go. Like the way that your identity, and especially if you were not encouraged in your creativity, now you feel like in order to be allowed to be creative, you have to be excellent, according to whose measure. But you have to have things to validate, things to show, things to prove. That's why I have the episode on You Have Nothing to Prove, the myth of proving yourself. Essentially, how can you see that some of these rules are blocking you from doing something that's truly sustainable to you? You are the creator, my love. So if it doesn't work for you, for your life that you're living now, not your imaginary life, it doesn't work. So for example, if you keep telling yourself, at the end of my day, I'm gonna make my TikTok content, and then every single day you don't make your TikTok content, what if the answer is, I don't have the energy required to make the content at the end of the day? It's not sustainable. What would feel more sustainable? Oh, okay, I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to set up my phone on the mirror. I'm going to put it there. And while I'm getting ready for work, which I have to do every single day, I'm going to make a video. I'm just going to make a video because I always have to get ready. And I'm not going to try and make it amazing. And if I don't like it, I won't post it, but I'm going to make a video. Okay? That's my version of sustainable. I'm not going to say, oh, I'm going to go deal with all the drainage of work. And then I come home and I'm drained and I have nothing left to give. And then I'm going to make TikTok content. In whose world is that sustainable? So that's not sustainable. That's not loving. It's not loving to be dishonest with ourselves. And that's where I want to go next. I want to give you a little bit of an analogy. Okay? Let's say you're making a new, should we do lover or friend? I'll just let you decide. Whichever one you're calling more into your life, that's what you're going to add to this analogy. So I want to give you 2 archetypes of a lover or a friend. On the one hand, you have the lover that is all about the big gestures. They're all about making big promises. You say to them, let's have coffee next week. They say, no. I'm taking you for dinner. Okay, let's have a 3-hour dinner, wear our best outfits and have an incredible time, and we're going to research the perfect restaurant, and then we're going to go there and we're going to take pictures, but we're also then going to put away our phones and be super present, and it's going to be incredible, and we're going to have amazing food, and it's going to be wonderful. And let's not meet if we don't do that. Okay, perfect. So they're about the big flashy gestures and effort, and they are all or nothing. It's either that big dinner or they're not going to be there at all. But the problem with this person is they sometimes don't show up. So they may make the big promise, but they often don't keep it. Because it's a lot, hey? You gotta research the restaurant. So you go on Google, Open Table, look at the reviews, go on Instagram, check that the vibe is right, make the reservation, make sure you have an outfit that you like. It's a lot of steps. There are a lot of interruptions that could happen to not make that goal possible. Then there's a different kind of friend, a different kind of lover. They don't do anything big, they don't do anything flashy, but in little ways, they show up for you every single day, babe. Every single day, they want to know how you doing. They want to know how you slept. They want to say, what's on your mind? Little small things, okay? They're not about the big thing. They're not going to meet you at the big dinner. They're not going to make you a big promise. If you say to them, can you do dinner for 2 hours next Thursday? They're going to say, you know what? I never really feel that energized on Thursday nights. It's been a long week, and honestly, that's not really going to be possible. Can I rather just call you tomorrow morning while I'm on the way to work? And then they call you tomorrow morning while you're on the way to work. So this person is making small efforts, but they are reliable and they are consistent, and they know themselves. They know their limitations. They don't act like they're limitless. They don't say, oh no, so next Thursday I'll want to do the thing that I don't want to do tomorrow. That's unrealistic. Pretend that every commitment you make could happen in the next 24 hours. If you wouldn't want to do it in the next 24 hours, baby, you don't want to do it. You don't want to do it. Sometimes we're like, oh, I don't want to have lunch with that person now, but maybe in February I'll want to. You're not going to want to in February. You're not going to want to in February. So know yourself. So this friend, they know themselves. So they never say, oh, yeah, of course I'm going to come and watch your play. They're like, I don't really like plays, hey? I'm not going to be there. I'm not going to be able to be there. But you know what I can do? I can pick you up afterwards. They know themselves, and they offer themselves from a place of deep knowing. Not only knowing the aspirational self, we all have aspirations, oh my goodness. We all aspire. They know their actual selves, and they're at peace with that self. Which friend would you rather have? Which lover would you rather have? Are you going to go for volatility, but big payoffs? Or are you going to go with small and steady, babe? Consistency. No drama. No drama. Right? Okay. So you catch what I'm throwing. We make these rumbacious, that's not a word. We make these bombacious. Is that a word? Let's just go with it. It sounds good to me. Bombacious promises to ourselves. Oof! Elaborate. Oh my gosh. I've never even written a word in my journal, but I'm going to do morning pages. 3 pages. Ha! I'm going to do it. So we are the friend who's making outlandish promises and then failing to keep them, and then getting really disappointed when we don't keep them. But if we come from a place of deep knowing, I'm going to focus on building the smallest step that's sustainable for me, and I'm going to honor that small step. I'm going to do what is sustainable. And it's not going to be flashy. There's not going to be headlines written about it. It's not going to be big. It's not going to be anything impressive, but it's a promise I know I can keep. And so it's not going to come with the existential pain of continually letting myself down and never being loving enough to ask myself, what if the bar I've set is actually cruel? What if it's actually cruel? It's like saying to a child, oh, you got to practice piano every single day for 1 hour and don't even come and try do anything less than that. Then they let us down. We say, you see what you've done? I told you to practice for an hour. No. Say, my love, what would feel good to you? What do you think you could do every single day? Because I would love for you to experience the gift of what it feels like to have a practice, a craft, a ritual, something that one day in the future, 30 years from now, when you feel low, a space you'll be able to go. But what does a space require? Building. It's like a nest. A bird builds a nest one twig at a time. And I want you to build your nest. I want you to have a space that in the future is a resting place, a place of refuge. It's not that now. Now it's just some twigs. But it can be with small and consistent efforts. And I want that gift for you. So my love, what do you think you could do each day? Oh, I think I could practice every day for 5 minutes. Okay, perfect, babe. That sounds amazing. One twig at a time. So what I would invite you to ask yourself is, what is my twig? What is my twig? Because every single book was written one word at a time. Every single podcast is spoken one word at a time and is edited 1 second at a time. I literally celebrate. Okay, I'm at 5 minutes. Okay, I'm at 10 minutes. Everything has a unit, every medium, every craft, and you need to know yours. So when you look at a book that you so admire and you're like, oh my word, how did they do this? How did they create this world? Or you watch a TV show and you're like, wow, I would love to be able to do that. And you have this perfect vision in your head. But be loving enough to know that that book, that screenplay, that podcast you love, it all happened one word at a time. And so sometimes it's our egos that get in the way, because we say to ourselves, if I can't do this at 100%, I'm not doing it at all. But who is that I that's speaking, since we are many selves? Who is the I that refuses to do the small, that will only do the big, that refuses to have a small and reliable lover? They must have the big flashy one, because that's what they deserve, is the flashy dinner that they can put on Instagram. That's what they deserve, is the accolade. That's what they deserve, is the perfect effort that they dreamed about, that's now on the page. The perfect idea that they dreamed about, that's now in the video. That I that refuses to do anything beneath it is the ego. We live in this illusion of fast results, and it undermines, it downplays the value of small, consistent effort, the value of the sustainable. What I would say is focus on the most loving version of what you're trying to bring into the world. What would that look like? Understanding that you're not alone. That mission that you have, all you need to do is play the littlest part, because if you play that part together, it's like a choir. What's going to happen? This rich melody that literally pierces the spirit of the world. Yes, of the world. I love you so much, my darlings. Know that you deserve what is easy. You deserve what is sustainable. You don't deserve to burn out on an impossible goal that never gets sustained, because it's not honoring your reality, which does necessarily involve limitations. So I want to leave you with this quote by Adrienne Maree Brown. She says, "What is easy is sustainable. Birds coast when they can." I love you so, so dearly, and I hope that you have a wonderful, wonderful existence today, tomorrow, and always. Sending you so much love, and I will see you next week. Have fun doing what is sustainable. I hope some paradigms have been shifted for you in today's conversation. As always, if you can, please leave a 5-star rating on Apple and Spotify. Like, comment, subscribe. I love you so, so much. Okay? I love you. Join me on my Substack. Links in the comment section. Go there. Okay? Love you so much. Love you. Bye.